What's going on, all you wild superhero enthusiasts? It's your two favorite wild boys back here for Cinephellas. I'm Logan Myers, my good mate over there.
And I'm Henry Hill, and tonight we're talking about Marvel Studios' She-Hulk,
Se-
Attorney at Law.
Season 1. So if you guys have been following our YouTube channel, last month we went above and beyond with a lot of horror movie reviews to 31 Days of Horror, and we snuck in a review of the first episode. But tonight we're back talking about the entire first season, all 9 episodes that are streaming on Disney Plus. The show circles around Jennifer Walters, attorney at law, basically here. Bruce Banner's cousin. We find, in the first few episodes how she becomes She-Hulk. They get in a car accident. Bruce Banner Hulk's blood gets into her bloodstream. She becomes She-Hulk and sets up the rest of the story. She's basically fired from her job and then ends up picking up this other lawyer gig having to do with superheroes, which introduces a lot of character superheroes and some returning faces along the way.
And we talked about the first episode and sort of what they're trying to go with for this series. It's much more lighthearted than the other Marvel shows, very tongue in cheek, very meta. The most meta thing you'll ever see, actually, especially where it goes towards the end of the season and then the final episode. But over the string of episodes, it had its ups and downs as far as keeping me interested. Luckily, at the end, they really nailed it with the last, 3 episodes were pretty good. The last 3 episodes really hit the high note for the season, and then the final episode, of course. But yeah, we're getting to know Jennifer Walters, and played by Tatiana Maslany. And we both talked about it, enjoying her performance in the pilot episode, and it continues on throughout the whole season, really. And she really carries the whole show, even when the episodes kind of, towards the middle there, they kind of felt like they were the same and kind of going for the more comedic tone and trying to find the footing of the show. It was always, a charming performance by Tatiana Maslany, and that's really what keeps you wanting to watch more and wanting to find out what happens more. Just based on her great performance and her chemistry with the other cast. Her and Bruce in the first episode, and then her and her friend Nikki Ramos, played by Ginger Gonzaga. And then, she ends up meeting Abomination, Emil Blonsky, played by Tim Roth. And even them, those two going back and forth with each other, they had a great chemistry, and she just seems to work well with other actors on the show. And that's what I was most impressed with this show and the whole overall arc of it. They were trying to find their footing, and you kind of wondered where they were going to go with this. At first it seemed more like a show about her dating and finding love, but then towards the end of the season you kind of finally saw where things were headed and where ultimately it's going to go in hopefully the second season. I don't know if it's officially been announced yet, but I have a feeling that we're going to get more She-Hulk, and I can't wait to see this story carry on into the next season.
And Tatiana Maslany just chews up scenery in the show. She, breaking the fourth wall, talking to the camera, feeling much like a sitcom, especially like a 90s sitcom, always talking, having fun. And she's really great at that. Really, the problem with the show is the script and the writing. It's just kind of all over the place, not cohesive. There's not really a lot on the line, or anything exciting happening that really makes you excited for the next episode coming up. And that's how I kind of felt towards like episode 3 through 6. It just kind of lost me. It just turned into this dating scenario with her being on a dating app and being this lawyer, but she's Hulk as the lawyer, and it's just really silly. And the CGI got worse and worse on her
Yeah, we
character
both
throughout the
talked about
show.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not really the actors or actresses, just a lot of the direction and a lot of the writing just didn't make sense, and kind of lost some momentum there in the middle. Where when you think of Marvel, you think a lot is on the line. Stakes are high, and it just never felt that way in the show. It just never felt like it knew where it was going.
I agree with you. Yeah, that was my biggest problem, along with just the look of the She-Hulk and the CGI. Yeah, you figured they would have cleaned it up more towards the end of the season, but it seemed to just kind of get worse or stay the same. It kind of, they should have taken more time working on the effects. It looks fine for 5 to 10 years ago, but now comparing it to other even TV shows and movies that we've seen lately, it falls behind in the CGI category. It looks off. and it kind of takes you out of the whole thing. And yeah, like you mentioned, it's like the dating scenario. It got kind of played out there over 3 or 4 episodes. I was wondering where the story was going. Her dealing with Emil Blonsky and bringing back Abomination was cool, but it didn't really find its footing. But luckily, like I mentioned before, the final episode, and I can't remember which episode it was that introduced Daredevil. Those were my two favorite standout episodes of the season. But the show, had a little trouble finding its footing and showing us where it was going to go. But like I mentioned, if it wasn't for Tatiana Maslany, I'd have to, not really enjoy this show as much as I would. But she, brings such a awesome presence to the show and has a great performance and is so likable as Jennifer Walters that you want to see more. And, that's why I'm going to rate this a little higher than I would otherwise, because the scripts are messy. It didn't find its focus, but I think that they can retool it and hopefully, take some more time on the CGI, make her She-Hulk look better overall. And I think there's a lot of improvement that can happen on the show. And, we saw some glimpses to some other characters and some other storylines with the Hulk and bringing in another character from that world. And I'm interested to see where that's going to go, whether it's going to go straight to season 2 or we're going to see that pop up in the next batch of Marvel films.
Yeah, there was some really great, returning characters. The best episodes are episode 8, 9 with Daredevil showing up and them getting it on, and then the final episode to really break the fourth wall and kind of poking fun at Marvel movies and just telling them to stop making the show. And then the part with Kevin Feige, his little robot AI thing was cool. Yeah. Totally breaking the fourth wall and poking fun at everything. But that also kind of takes you out of it because they're so serious and they're really diving into the source material of the show. They kind of do something complete opposite, lighthearted, and overall, I didn't really feel like it worked. Redeeming quality here, though, is Tatiana Maslany playing Jennifer Walters. She was fantastic. Love her, everything she does. So this is probably not going to be the last time we see her. If they don't do another season, she'll show up in Secret Wars or something with the entire crew, which I'm really hoping for. But overall, just kind of a lackluster show. I enjoyed probably 4 out of 9 episodes, the first 2 and the last 2. All the stuff in the middle just kind of forgettable and didn't really work for me. So that being said, I'm going to give the first season of She-Hulk, maybe the only season, on Disney Plus, a 3 out of 5 Tatiana Maslany hair pieces.
Totally agree with everything that you just said about the show. Really, I mean, that's where the problem lied. It just never had a focus and never upped the stakes enough to fully be invested in it and fully want to see the whole season through. It just kind of had some filler episodes. Unfortunately, it was nice to see Perfect Stranger, Mark Lynn-Baker, show up as her dad. That was pretty cool. It was cool to bring back Tim Roth and of course introduce back into, now being back with Marvel, being with Disney Plus, we have Daredevil back, so that was awesome to see Charlie Cox and, his character and She-Hulk. I love the two of them together. They worked really well together, and I'd like to see them continue that relationship, hopefully up on the big screen. But yes, definitely some problems here. Not great by any stretch of the imagination, but enjoyable thanks to a great performance by Tatiana Maslany. So with that being said, I too am going to give She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, first season, a 3 out of 5 Charlie Cox hair pieces.
So we're interested from hearing all you wild rascals out there. What did you like about the first season of She-Hulk? What didn't you like about it? Are you guys excited to check out Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to click subscribe. Also check out these wild rascals on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV movie news and reviews.
That's right. So thank you guys so much for joining us once again as we covered the first season of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. We both, enjoyed it for the most part, but had a lot of problems with it. Hopefully it gets renewed for a second season. But we both want to see Tatiana Maslany return to the role. And we liked what she did with the role for sure. She killed it. And we want to know what you guys thought. So let us know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for following us. We really covered a lot during the month of October, and we're excited to be back here in November to cover a lot of new TV shows and movies going to be coming out. And we're going to revisit a few that we finished just in the past couple of weeks. And we look forward to reviewing a lot more, TV shows and movies for you guys. So stay tuned.
So that's it for these two wild green superheroes signing out from Cinephellas until the next TV review.
Cheers!